Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. I'm only doing this for you guys, man. Okay, so PTR server is currently live with the new update. Let's take a look at the brand new espers, two of them. So the first is Norah, and she is the wind type fighter here. Okay, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so she has an attack lead here in Ritual Miracle, Sonic Miracle, Desolate Land, Sentinel Hunt, and Falsetto Fantasy by 40%. What the heck is... I just noticed this as well. What the heck is a Falsetto Fantasy? We'll check that in just a little bit. Is that supposed to be Celestial Anomaly? Wait a minute. Is it? I'm not... Was it this particular lead that had the Celestial Anomaly buff? I think so, right? Wait, what? Am I dreaming? One way that I can find out is by taking a look at Yamato, because I know Yamato had the Tower lead, but he didn't have the Celestial Anomaly lead, right? So Yamato has the Tower lead. So indeed, right, indeed, that is it for the Celestial Anomaly, it seems, because what the hell is Falsetto Fantasy if it's not the Celestial Anomaly? Okay, so this is something major, I think. Anyway, let's take a look at the skills, right? So, Tempo Trio attacks one enemy 3 times, damage is 40% of attack. Gains different bonus effects based on the songs that Norah Jones plays. So, passive plays different songs whenever casting. Tempo Trio plays Presto, Andante, and Largo in order in a loop. So, we have Presto here. Upon dealing damage, inflicts additional true damage equal to 3% of target's max HP up to 50% of her attack, which is really nothing, because if you give her like, I don't know, 7,000 attack in total, that's only going to be 3,500 in like essentially true damage, which is like, yeah, it's not much. Andante, upon dealing damage, reduces the target's AP by 10%. I think this is like okay, because you hit 3 times, you can reduce 30% at max. And Largo here, upon dealing damage, dispels 1 buff from the target. Dispels up to 3 buffs, which I think is not bad. So I think Largo is probably like her best first skill. And then moving on to her second skill, this is Rainbow Rondo. She quickly strums the strings. She enters a state of kind of like counter attack, and she don't actually do anything when she activates this. Instead, she has a 50% chance of counter attacking with Tempo Trio whenever one of her allies get hit during the state of Rainbow Rondo, which lasts for a turn. Now, passive, after completing Tempo Trio's play loop of Presto, Andante, and Largo each time, Norah gains 1 stack of Halcyon Harmonic. We will take a look at how this works. And this is what Halcyon Harmonic does. After casting any ability, consumes Halcyon Harmonic, reduces Hearing the Divine's cooldown, which is the third skill, by 1 turn, and dispels 1 debuff from each ally, then attacks all enemies twice with true damage. The true damage is 8% of target's max HP, up to 80% of her attack, and each hit has a 50% chance of dispelling 1 buff from each ally. So the thing is, okay, it attacks twice, that means it actually dispels 2 buffs. Okay, that's not bad. But okay, it's a 50% chance only. Bit of a rip. Okay, so I have to stress this a lot. I know some of you guys are saying that she's pretty good for Andrus. Now the thing is, if you're talking about true damage, do take note that Andrus adds, they have like 500,000 HP. So her true damage is not even going to amount to anything. So even if she had like 7,000 attack, the true damage would then just be, you know, 80% of that, or maybe in her first skill's case, 50% of her attack, which is very little. So yeah, do take note that her damage output, I don't think is going to be very good at all. Now, Hearing the Divine inflicts attack down on all enemies for 2 turns, extends all their debuff durations by 1 turn, so we finally have a new extender over here, and then attacks all enemies 4 times. Total damage is 144%, okay? Up to 144% of her attack, which is pretty good in terms of an AoE damage, but this is total damage that cannot crit, and the last hit deals extra true damage. Now, true damage is 15% of target's max HP, up to 150% of her attack. So, it's, like I said, the true damage portion maybe goes up to like 10k. It's not really all that much, I think. And then now her passive, all of Norah's damage will not land a critical hit, but each 1 accuracy increases 50% of enemy's defense that she ignores. So she only ignores up to 50% of the enemy's defense. So you need to invest into 100% accuracy, and on top of that, you want to invest into a lot of attack power at the same time. So like I said, I think she's probably really good in PvE. I wouldn't say really good, but I'll say she's better at PvE than she would be at PvP. Now let's take a look at her Ascensions and Resonances. So we have the Ascensions here. She has attack flat, HP flat, 10% HP, 15% accuracy, and 20% attack. I think these are like pretty decent upgrades for her if you're using her in PvE content at least. And of course, we have her Resonances here. So R2, Rainbow Rondo, when inflicted with AP down, nullifies this effect and attacks all enemies with Halcyon Harmonic without any cost, which is without using Halcyon Harmonic itself, triggers once per turn. So like I said, we need to test whether her R2 would actually allow her to counter attack, right? Allow to nullify this AP down instantly without even having the Halcyon Harmonic buff in the first place. So I think this is like the main thing. And the rest of her Resonances, they are like not much. So when attacking while not on your turn, damage was 15%. Try to think of it as like Adrena. So Adrena doesn't really do a lot of damage, but she has like these kinds of Resonances, which is really not much. And her R6, Rainbow Rondo, her passive, her second skill, when casting Halcyon Harmonic, 50% chance, 50% chance of reducing all enemies' AP by 20%. So, like I said, if it's not 30%, I'm really not too bothered about it. And I mean, this is just a 50% chance or 20% AP down. I thought it was like 100%. So, first impression wise, not that great. I'm not seeing her being that useful, but I might change my mind if, let's say, you run her like a tanky tyranny set, then she might be able to perform in PvP. Other than that, in terms of PvE, why would you need Norah? I'm not super sure. Anyway, let's take a look at the VR Battlegrounds. Okay, push our AP up. Let's take the first turn and buff up with our second skill. Oh my god, we didn't get this. We didn't steal the turn. Okay, so we're gonna buff out with our second skill here, Rainbow Rondo. So there is a 50% chance, right, at max skill level, that she will counter-attack whenever any one of her allies get attacked. So let's see how this works. Nice animation on her, by the way. Okay, so there's no assist just yet. No assist just yet. Okay, so that's the first assist. She doesn't seem to... Okay, this could just be down to pure RNG, but she does not seem to counter-attack whenever... Oh my... And that's the end of it anyway. She doesn't seem to counter-attack whenever she gets hit, but of course we'll test this one more time, right? So let's use our second skill again. So this is Andante. And we are going to use our first skill again for the Largo. And will we get Halcyon Harmonic, right? Because this is the passive effect. After completing the trio of skills, she should gain one stack of Halcyon Harmonic like so. So let's try this out like that. Largo, and she does get the Halcyon Harmonic. This is it, right? So the way that you can trigger Halcyon Harmonic is after casting any ability, you will consume Halcyon Harmonic, and then afterwards you reduce the third skill's cooldown by 1 turn. So what I really want to test right now is, let's say we have the Halcyon Harmonic here, and we have our third skill fully cooldown, like our third skill is ready right now. But with Halcyon Harmonic, would our third skill actually get the cooldown reduced the moment we use this skill? I think that's quite important, right? So let's test this out. We are going to attack this guy over here with our third skill with a 4 turns cooldown, and we should see either 3 turns or 2 turns, right? My god, Okay, we'll get into that in just a little bit. Okay, we'll check that thing out again, but first, I want to test out whether, if the enemies attack me, will that mean that we also counter-attack, or is it just attacking our allies, right? Okay, good. All the attacks are coming towards me. It seems like only when they attack our allies, right? So far, like from whatever that we have tested thus far, seems like only if they attack my ally, then we will counter-attack. So if you attack her instead. I see. Okay, so do you guys notice that? So the thing is, when she counter-attacked with the Halcyon Harmonic, that would actually imply that she would have casted any of her abilities, which is essentially her first skill, and that led to the Halcyon Harmonic just throwing out that way, right? Okay, so let's test this out one more time, right? So I have the Halcyon Harmonic on myself now, and I'm going to use my third skill, and I just want to check whether my cooldown, would it be left with 3 turns or 2 turns? So does my cooldown decrease actually happen at the point of me using the skill? Or do I have to use my third skill before benefiting from the Halcyon Harmonic over here? So we have 4 turns of cooldown, like I said. Let's use it. Hopefully we don't kill anything. Okay, very nice. Halcyon Harmonic. Afterwards, the cooldown goes down, right? Okay, so that is actually pretty good synergy. So we can actually generate the Halcyon Harmonic first using our Rainbow Rondo, and then per chance we can use our third skill afterwards with the Halcyon Harmonic if it's available, and that would instantly reduce the cooldown of Hearing the Divine within the same action itself. So that's pretty damn good. So I think one more last test for this really very basic initial video on like testing a kit and all that. I just want to see how she works with her AI. I think that's the most important thing, because if her AI uses her second skill first, then I'm actually pretty hyped about it. If her AI uses her third skill first, I am actually not super sure, because the third skill, all it does is just deals damage, essentially, right? And extends debuffs. But I do feel like her main thing is her counter-attack, so she uses her third skill first. I don't really know how to feel about this, because she uses the third skill, inflicts attack down, and then extends debuff durations, which doesn't seem to apply to... Does it apply to the attack debuff? Maybe if I rewatch this, I'll probably see it. But then the next turn that she takes is just going into like a do-nothing phase, which... Yeah, I think she definitely needs more testing to be sure whether she's any good or not. Alright, next Esper, we have Toland, who is also the legendary Shimmer Esper, and he's kind of dumb. So he has 25% speed lead, universal speed lead, which is insane. I mean, Unas doesn't even have a universal speed lead. Alright, let's take a look at his skills, right? So first skill, Bonds of Fate, attacks one enemy, the damage is 90% of attack, steals 1 buff, and inflicts taunt for 1 turn. Okay. And now his second skill, Paid in Full, which is essentially how you can acquire Toland in the first place, right? You cannot just have a down payment on Toland, you need to have a full payment in order to obtain a single copy of him. So that's how you get him. He gains 3 stacks of trackback at the start of combat, and trackback is essentially just 10 speed per... I say just 10 speed per stack with a maximum of 3 stacks. So he immediately has 30 additional speed at the start. And he also has a speed lead over here. So he has so much jam-packed into his kit right now. And this is just his passive, right? Now gains 1 stack of trackback at the end of each turn, excluding his own turns, and dispels all buffs from the killer. Won't miss and cannot be resisted. We are going to test this out as well when Toland falls. Now inflicts final passage on the killer for 2 turns and triggers once per battle. So what I really want to see is, because this is a silver rim debuff, that means that this can be dispelled. So what happens if this is dispelled, right? Because this says when this effect expires, if Toland is fallen, revives him, blah 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 blah. Does that also take into consideration buff dispels, or if the enemy dies, that kind of stuff, right? These are things that we need to find out. And now, Point of Origin dispels all buffs from one single enemy, then attacks the enemy afterwards. And like I said, 0 hour, this is like the D-out effect. So we are going to incapacitate the enemy, cannot be selected, cannot be attacked, cannot be buffed, debuffed. And when all enemies except for the target falls, the effect expires. Is essentially Li Ao, and consumes all stacks of trackback and launches a pursuit attack on random enemies afterwards with his first skill, which steals a buff and taunts the enemy at the same time, based on the number of trackback stacks consumed, which is the number of hits essentially, and then the attack prioritizes different targets. So you can AoE buff steal and AoE taunt at the same time. So very, very powerful kit. Extremely powerful with really low cooldowns as well. I would say 4 turns cooldown is actually pretty damn low for whatever that he's capable of doing, especially since he is super fast, so he takes his turns so freaking quickly. And the best part I think about his kit is you don't even need to run him on the wind set for him to be super fast, unless you're up against another Toland. So for the most part, you can even run him on the ocean set and still easily outspeed anyone with a wind set. But do take note that his speed is actually not super high. It's 102, it's not like 106. But the thing is, let's take a look at his ascensions real quick. You see it, right? He gains 5 speed over here for a total of 107. So he does have 107 speed, which is not the highest in the game. So Una's has 106 plus 10, which is 116. He has about 107, which means he's losing at about like 9 speed or something like that. Okay, I cannot math right now. So what he gains is flat attack, flat HP, 5 speed, 10% crit rate, so he's kind of like steered towards DPS a little bit, 20% accuracy as well. So I feel like the DPS portion is not super helpful. It just, you know, revives him, and then he has the absorb effect that will then allow him to heal himself with like bigger DPS or something like that. But for the most part, I don't think that's super important. I think the most important thing is just take the first turn, throw out your third skill, and he's basically like done. That's pretty much all he does. He just captures one target for 2 turns. Essentially afterwards, the rest of his kit doesn't really do all that much while his third skill is on cooldown. Okay, so let's take a look at how he works in practice, and we're just gonna figure out all those stuff, right? I might want to have to replace my Clara here, but let's take a look at what trackback is capable of. So we're actually gonna take a turn here. We're gonna like maybe swallow this guy. Oh no, wait, hold on. Maybe yeah, let's just get her out of the way. Okay, so she disappears for 2 turns, and he pursues. And now the enemy takes a turn, he gains a trackback. Enemy takes another turn, he gains trackback again, trackback. Okay, so now he has 3 trackback, and his speed is going crazy. So like you see, I cannot actually target the enemy here. Neither can they take any turn whatsoever. And next test, I want to test out his AI and see who he prioritizes. Okay, so we're actually going to go into sequence mode here. So this guy is the... okay, he's kind of like the fastest. He has the highest AP at least. Let's take a look at who he would prioritize with his third skill here. And he will target the guy with the highest AP, it seems. It seems, right? I'm gonna do this again, so I just press auto here. He does target the green guy again. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm going to test out his AI once again, depending on who has the highest AP when he has his third skill up again. Okay, so with the help of Angelic Nusi, I have my third skill up again. Let's take a look at what our auto would target, right? So are we going to target this guy here because he's the next in line? We shall see. He does not. That is so odd. He targets this guy instead. Why is that the case? Why is he targeting this guy even though he's way all the way at the back, right? He's all the way at the back over here. Okay, so this is kind of odd. Let's take a look at their speeds. It could be related to speed. Alright, so over here you can see that the Berserker, he has 172 speed. This guy has 170 speed. This guy has 172 speed as well. This guy has 172 speed. And this guy has 172 speed. So why did he go for the tank? I can understand why he skipped this guy who has 170 speed, who is the slowest here, but why did he go all the way for this guy over here? That's very puzzling. I mean, logically speaking, wouldn't you just go according to whoever's first? So this guy is probably at the prime target, followed by this guy who is the next in line, right? So why is it that we went all the way to the enchanter? I'm not super sure about that. Now, I've tested this quite a fair bit, and he's always targeting the green guy in front. So there is definitely a priority in terms of speed. It's not AP because we targeted this guy who was all the way at the back just now, right? The little penguin guy. So it's not about AP, it's related to speed. That is for sure. Okay, so now I want to see what happens when he dies. So I'm actually going to leave him alone. And if you kill someone, right? What happens? I mean, if he dies, what happens? So let's say I swallow this. Okay, let's just take her out of the plate. Let's get her out of the way for the time being. And if I'm alone, okay, so if I'm alone, I cannot revive with my passive effect. Understood. Okay, let's try to get myself killed here. Alright, I died, and the debuff is on this guy over here. So a couple of things, right? The first thing is what happens when she cleanses this effect, right? So I think that's pretty much what we're going to test over here. Hopefully this Esper over here cleanses this effect. And we revive. Okay, so it's as simple as that. The moment that debuff disappears, he revives. So that definitely includes if the enemy dies with the debuff, Toland's gonna revive. If the enemy takes 2 turns with the debuff, Toland's gonna revive. Okay, very interesting. And I made this comparison in the previous video where I talked about Una's, right? So the difference between them is he gains 30 speed per stack, not 10 speed per stack, right? This is Una's. Maximum of 3 stacks and removed after launching an attack. And the thing is, at the end of an enemy's turn, he gains 1 haste stack. So it's not quite the same as Toland. The way he has it, the way his passive works is at the end of anyone's turn. Yeah, gains 1 stack of trackback at the end of any turn, excluding his own. But in terms of total speed gain, Una's is still going to be able to acquire a lot more speed along the way, for a total of 90 speed on this crazy passive itself. Now, maybe for the final test, I want to see what happens when we kill everything, right? Because like the tooltip says here, for 0 hour, when all enemies except the carrier falls, the effect expires. So let's just give it a go, right? So we're gonna swallow, I don't know, whatever, zero this person, right? 0 this Esper over here, and we are just gonna nuke everything. And hopefully, we get to see exactly what we should see here, right? No bugs or anything like that. Okay, so no damage to her. She pops out of 0 hour and she is basically just single Esper target over there, and that is basically it. Alright, so I think that's it for this video. That's all that I really wanted to look for, except I really want to know more about Norah's R2, which I will not test because I just don't have enough materials here to test an R2 Norah. Essentially what I'm talking about is whether she needs the Halcyon Harmonic buff in the first place, because if she does not need it, then I think she's an excellent R2 Esper. But if she needs it, then she is not an R2 Esper that much in my opinion. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up, it really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. With that said, this has been Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.